There is a voice in your mind. It speaks often, sometimes softly, sometimes very loud. It tells you things like, "You're not good enough," "You always make mistakes," or "You should have done better." Many people live their whole lives listening to this voice, believing that it tells the truth. But this voice is not you. This voice is just a habit. It started many years ago, maybe in childhood, when someone said something unkind, or when you felt ashamed or afraid. The voice stayed with you. It grew stronger each time you believed it. But it does not come from your true nature. Your true nature is quiet. It does not shout. It watches, listens, and waits. It is calm, even when the mind is not. To notice this difference is the first step. Next time the inner critic speaks, try to pause. Don't fight it. Don't agree with it either. Just listen. Ask yourself, whose voice is this? Most of the time, it's not your own. It could be an old teacher, a parent, or someone who once made you feel small. When you stop and look at the voice, you begin to see clearly. You are not the thoughts in your head. You are the one who sees them. This understanding gives you space, and in that space, the voice begins to lose its power. The mind may still speak, but you no longer need to follow it. This is the beginning of freedom. Many people think the inner critic is part of who they are, but in truth, it is something they learned. This voice did not begin with you. It was passed down. When we are young, we are open. We listen to the world. If someone tells us we are not good enough, we often believe it. Not because it is true, but because we want to be accepted. We learn to judge ourselves before others can. This becomes a kind of protection. Sometimes, the inner critic sounds like someone from your past. Maybe a parent who was strict. Maybe a teacher who compared you to others. Maybe a friend who laughed at you. Even if those people are no longer in your life, their words can stay inside you. The mind repeats them again and again. Other times, the critic comes from society, from TV, from social media, from the messages that say, you must be more successful, you must look a certain way, you must always be strong. We see these messages so often that we forget they are not real. But just because the inner critic is loud does not mean it is wise. Just because it has been with you a long time does not mean it belongs to you. You did not choose this voice. But now, you can choose how to respond to it. When you understand where the critic comes from, it becomes easier to question it, to see it as a voice, not a truth. And in that moment, something inside you starts to soften. You feel less fear, less shame, more space to be yourself. The inner critic often speaks with the idea of perfection. It says you must always do things right. It says you should never fail. It tells you that others are better, and you are not enough. But this idea of perfection is not real. It is a shadow. You can chase it forever and never catch it. People are not perfect. Not you, not me, not anyone. We all make mistakes. We all feel lost sometimes. This is not weakness. It is part of being human. Still, the critic tells you that mistakes are something to be ashamed of. It says, if you were better, this would not have happened. But that is not true. Perfection is a moving target. Even when you reach one goal, the critic will find another. It will say, now you must do more. It never rests, and it never lets you rest. If you wait for the critic to be satisfied, you will wait your whole life. What happens if you stop trying to be perfect? The mind will resist. It will say, then you will become lazy, or then you will fail. But that is fear speaking. When you let go of perfection, you do not give up. You simply allow yourself to be real. You start to act with care, not pressure. You begin to live with honesty, not fear. The critic becomes quieter because it no longer has control. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to live. Fully, honestly, and without shame. The more you see this clearly, the more free you become. The inner critic lives in noise. It grows stronger when your mind is busy, when your attention is always outside. Today, many people are always looking at screens, jumping from one thing to another. The mind becomes full, but not clear. In that noise, the critic finds space to speak. But silence is still possible. Even in a noisy world, you can find quiet moments. You don't need a special place. You don't need to sit for hours. You only need a few seconds of real stillness. When you drink a cup of tea, try doing nothing else. Just drink. Feel the warmth. Notice the taste. That small moment is silence. When you walk, try not to rush. Feel your steps. Look at the sky or the trees. Listen, not for words, but for what is always there beneath the noise. These small pauses help you see more clearly. And when you see clearly, the inner critic becomes easier to notice. You can hear it say, "This is not good enough," but you don't have to believe it. You can let the thought pass like a cloud in the sky. Silence is not the absence of sound. It is the space where truth can appear. When you give yourself this space, the critic has less power. You remember that you are not the voice in your head. You are the one who watches. Little by little, these quiet moments grow, and with them, your sense of peace grows too. If someone you loved made a mistake, would you call them stupid? Would you say they are not good enough, or that they should be ashamed? Of course not. You would speak gently. You would say, "It's okay. Everyone makes mistakes. You're still a good person." But many people do not speak this way to themselves. They say things to their own hearts that they would never say to anyone else. They are kind to others, but harsh to themselves. The inner critic depends on this habit. It survives because we do not question it. But you can start a new way. You can learn to speak to yourself the way you would speak to someone you love. This is not pretending everything is fine. It is being honest, but also gentle. Instead of "I failed again," you can say, "This was hard for me." Instead of "I'm not good enough," you can say, "I'm doing my best." These are simple words, but they change how the heart feels. You may feel strange doing this at first. That is natural. The critic is loud and familiar. Kindness may feel soft and unfamiliar. But over time, your words create a new space inside, a space that supports you instead of hurting you. You do not need to be perfect to speak gently to yourself. You only need to be willing. Each time you choose kind words, you take a step away from the critic. And each step brings you closer to the life you truly want, one with less fear and more care. Sometimes, even when we understand the inner critic, it still returns. It catches us when we are tired or unsure. That is okay. You are not failing. You are simply being human. What matters is not to stop the voice completely, but to come back again and again to yourself. Here is something very simple you can try. When the critic appears, take a slow breath. Then gently say to yourself, "Right now, I begin again." Just that. No need to fix anything. No need to judge the moment. Just begin again. This short phrase is like a doorway. It reminds you that the past is gone. You are not trapped. You can return to a more open place, where the critic has less control. Some days you may say it once, other days many times. That's okay. Each time is a fresh start. No practice is perfect. Some days will feel easy, some days will not. But every time you choose awareness over judgment, you grow stronger in a quiet way. If this video has offered you even a little peace or clarity, I'm truly grateful. To those who have taken time to leave a like or subscribe to this channel, thank you very much. Your kind support means more than I can say. And to those who leave thoughtful comments, share their reflections, or support through super thanks or membership, please know that your presence is deeply appreciated. You help create a space where these quiet conversations can continue. Wherever you are in your journey, you are not alone, and at any moment, you can begin again.